Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning into my channel. So today I will be giving you guys 5 things that you should talk to your spouse about or just have a discussion about if you're thinking about getting engaged or thinking about getting married or if you're just in a serious relationship. If you're brand new to my channel, I have been married for 5 years. I have 3 kids. I am a follower of Christ, so a lot of the things that I say will be based on just a foundation of Christ. I don't know everything. I've only been married 5 years, but I feel like even within that 5 years, I've learned a lot from being a parent. I learned a lot, and a young parent at that. I'm 29 years old, so I think that I have enough experience to be able to give you guys a few tips that, or just give you something to think about that you may have didn't think about before. So if you're brand new to my channel, that's basically what my channel is about. If you're returning, welcome back, and thank you so much for tuning in. And with that said, guys, let's get into the video. Okay, number 1, guys, we're going to start with finances. Why I start with finance, number 1, because that is the main reason why people get divorced, is because of finances. I understand the frustration from it. It can be very frustrating, but I think some tips for finances is just make sure you talk to your spouse of who is going to handle the finances. Like, who's going to make sure all the bills are paid, who's going to really handle all that. Is it going to be one person? Is it going to be both of you guys? Are you going to take turns? Along with that, are you going to have separate accounts of, play money, spending money, however that works? Talking about those particular things, I think will really help with the finance thing. I usually handle most of the finances just because I just like doing it. So I'm sure my husband would love to do it, but he knows that I just like doing it, so he just allows me to do it. So it was just a good compromise when it came to that. Number 2, kids. If you guys want kids, don't want kids, when you want kids, how many kids you want. I know that was a lot, so I'll slow back down. So I think you should just make sure you have that very important conversation. Do you guys even want kids? There's some people that don't want kids. They just want to focus on each other, and that's totally fine. If you do want kids, when do you want to have kids? Right after marriage? Do you want to wait a year or 2? When do you want to have kids? And then how many do you want to have? Do you want to only have 2? Do you want to only have 3? Do you not care and you just want to see how many kids come along the way? That's something you definitely need to talk about, because it's important, because once kids come, things aren't the same. Everything changes because it's about those little ones you brought into this world. So I feel like that's another very important point that you should talk to about your spouse. Number 3, conflict resolution. So that is very important. I was very bad at conflict resolution when I first got married. I'm still learning. I'm not perfect at it. I'm still learning. But I was very bad at it because I would just be like, oh, I'm over this. I just want to walk away. I'm over it. That doesn't help. It doesn't get you any closer to your spouse. It just really doesn't help at all. And so I think the things that's helped us is, for one, I do what I can. I try and be loving. I try and be understanding. But if we still can't reach to an understanding, I literally give it to God. I give it to God. And you know what? He has worked it out every single time. As long as I'm coming to him respectfully, as long as I'm coming to him in a loving way, and then I just give it to God, I'm telling you, it's worked out perfectly. But another thing you can do is, just talk to your spouse. If y'all are mad, just agree to each other that, hey, if we're upset with each other, we're going to separate for a minute. Like, you go to one room, I go to another room, and then we have to come back together before the day ends and retouch back on whatever this is. Or, hey, we have to make sure we come back together between this time or whatever. But just come to some kind of agreement that y'all don't go to sleep mad, and that y'all come back to each other and come back to that situation and talk it out after you've given each other time to just calm down. So I think that's another thing. All right, number 4, parenting styles. There's different parenting styles. There's parents that like to discipline. There's parents that do not like to discipline at all. And then there's some parents that are okay with discipline, but they're just not very consistent with it. Parenting is already hard enough. So if you guys cannot meet in the middle and just say, hey, this is how I want us to raise our kid. Well, I agree, I don't agree, talk about it, whatever the case may be. Because if you don't agree and y'all have 2 different parenting styles, y'all will get angry with each other. You will butt heads, and it'll be so much friction within the marriage. It's just, it's better to talk about it ahead of time. So for me, I feel like that's also a very important thing to just talk about and understand, because everybody has different backgrounds. And sometimes the way you parent is because of how you were raised yourself. So I think that's an important thing to talk about. Okay, finally, number 5, the roles. I think it's important to talk about the roles after you get married. If you decide to have kids or whatever the case may be, down the line, it's good to talk to your spouse. Well, hey, would you ever want me to be a stay-at-home wife? Would you ever want me to be a stay-at-home mom? Well, I don't want to be that at any point in time, or I do, or I'll be okay with that. Whatever the case may be, that's still a discussion you guys should have, because it's not easy being a stay-at-home mom. I've done it for years. It's not easy, and it can really get you down sometimes, because if you're so used to having a career and working, and then you go from that transitioning to stay at home, it can be hard sometimes. So if life hits you, life just hits you, and you have to stay home. And I love being at home with my kids, but we're humans, and especially if we're used to working, it does kind of throw you off. But I think that's another thing to talk about. Just talk about the roles. At any point, you say, hey, I absolutely would not want to be a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home wife, or hey, I wouldn't mind doing that. But yeah, so those are my 5 things, guys. Like I said, I don't know everything, but I hope that those 5 things have just given you something to think about, something to talk to your spouse about, and that you guys can actually get something from that. But if you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up, like, and then comment down below. Let me know what else you have questions about. If you like this video and want more videos of this, just let me know. I would love to hear from you guys. Thanks. I'll see you in the next video.